I believe the biggest problem in the world is that people don't understand themselves enough. This show is designed to help you understand your INFJ personality, heal from your past, and create a life that you love. I'm Sarah Kuhn, and this is the Quiet Ones podcast. One of the things that I struggle with the most is a lack of self-love and confidence. Some people call it self-love deficiency disorder. I've spent a lot of time working on this, and I want to share what I've learned with you just in case you struggle with the same thing. On this Thursday episode of the Quiet Ones podcast, we're talking all about confidence. Let's take a listen. I'm starting this new series that's called Coffee and Confidence because confidence is one of those things that INFJs struggle with so much. I hear so many people tell me that they have a problem with confidence. And I know that that's been one of my biggest problems ever since I can remember. It's a problem for INFJs, especially because when we grow up, we know that we're different than everybody else. And we feel like we don't belong. We feel like because we don't belong that we're not lovable, that we're not enough. And so what happens is we have this feeling of, I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I don't know enough. And it becomes this voice in your head that lingers there. And it just constantly berates you through your whole life. And that's where the lack of confidence comes from, right? Because every time you're like, I want to do something new. I want to put myself out there some way. I want to start a blog. This voice in your head is like, no, you can't do that. Why would you do that? What are people going to say? What if they laugh at you? What if they make comments about the way that you look? What if, you get on YouTube or Instagram and you start stumbling over your words and you can't find the right words? What are people going to say? And we let that voice in our head tell us that we're not enough, and we let it hold us back from so many things. So I wanted to start this series to make these videos because I want you to know that you are enough, that you can do all those things that you want to do, that there's a reason that voice is in your head saying you should start a blog, you should start a YouTube channel, you should start an Instagram account, or even just things like, hey, you should go talk to that person because you might be really good friends with them, or you should get a new job because you deserve to be paid more. There's so many ways that confidence or lack of confidence affects your life, and it certainly affected mine so much. When I was young, I used to have these conversations with my mom, and I mean, it was everything from like school to boyfriends to later in life when I was trying to get a job. We would have these conversations and she would say, your problem is that you just don't have enough confidence. And we had this conversation so many times that my response got to be, yes, that is exactly my problem. How do I fix it? And she would be like, I don't know. I've never had that problem. I don't know how to fix it. But you should really fix it because it's a really bad problem. And I'd be like, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. So you don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. What if it's not fixable? And I kind of had this idea that it just wasn't fixable because I didn't know how to fix it. So if you don't know how to fix it, then it must not be fixable, right? A lot of it, I pushed through a lot of it because I was stuck kind of between, well, it's either not fixable or maybe it's just a problem with me and I'm the only one who has that problem. So maybe if I just push through it, it'll go away or I'll figure it out along the way somehow. And a lot of it I did. The more that I would put myself out there, sometimes good things would happen. Sometimes I'd get slapped in the face. As that's what happens. That's part of life. But I got to be more and more brave and learned how to put myself out there a little bit more and a little bit more. And it was still really difficult, but it got a little bit easier. So when I decided to start my blog, I had wanted to start a blog for years and years, and I had tried multiple times, and I always let that fear of not being enough hold me back. and stop me, even though I would put in the work to write a blog post and set up a website, and inevitably that fear would always hold me back. And so when I finally decided in December of 2018, I'm like, I'm not going to be focused on the fear this time. I'm going to be focused on helping people, because I know that the information that I have will help people, and I want to help even just one person. That's all that I want to do. And so I think that it works that time because I took the focus off of me and I put it onto somebody else. Instead of saying, this is what I want to do, I want to be a writer, I want to have a nice website, I want to learn how to write so I can write a book. Instead of focusing on me, I was focused on helping other people. And when I took the focus off of myself, it was so much easier to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I don't care what people say because I know that I'm helping people. We as INFJs, we are most ourselves when we're helping other people, when we are focused on other people. So that's one of the tricks that I learned. When I want to do something that's difficult for me to do, it's like, okay, can this help other people? Can I figure out how to make it about other people? Because when I make it about other people, then it's so much easier to do it. When I started my podcast, I felt the same way. I was terrified to be on audio recording or video recording. I knew that I wanted to start a YouTube channel as well. And I had kind of dabbled in making a couple of videos, and it was so difficult. I didn't want to show my face on video, right? I was like, no, I'll just put slides over the screen. I don't really even want to talk because it feels really weird to edit my own voice on video. But I knew that my podcast would help other people. So it's like, okay, I can do this. I can help other people. As long as it's helping other people, then I can do it. I can make it work. And it was really difficult to learn how to listen to your voice, right? Because it's like terrifying. I was shocked and surprised too once I started recording the episodes, and people would listen to them and send me these comments of how sweet my voice is and how they could listen to it all day. And I was like, really? I didn't think that about my voice, but I appreciate the compliment. Even in the midst of those compliments, and in the midst of so much positive feedback from my blog and my YouTube channel, and my Instagram account, there's still a lot of fear that comes up. There's still a lot of confidence problems that I fight through all of the time, because it's like every time that you put yourself out there, it's another layer of, is this okay? Does this work? Is it really helping other people? And even when you have the reassurance, there's this line of questioning that comes through in your head that's like, okay, this is a real problem. I've been focused a lot recently on trying to figure out how to change that voice in my head, that voice that tells me that I'm not enough, that I'm not good enough, that I don't belong. A lot of it comes back to childhood trauma, things that happened to you in the past. When I thought about childhood trauma, when I was first learning about it, I thought, well, there was nothing really traumatic that happened to me when I was young. I had a pretty good childhood. My family is really pretty good. There wasn't anything horrible that happened to me. But what I learned is that trauma comes in many, many different ways. It's not just really horrible, awful things that happen to you. It could be traumatic for you if somebody is telling you, you need to speak up more. You need to talk louder. I heard that so much when I was young because I was so quiet. I was very, very shy and very, very quiet when I was young. And my mom recently gave me my report cards from grade school. And I was looking through them, and I always had straight A's when I was in school, but there were these comments on almost all of them that said, you know, Sarah's a great student. She does her work really well, but she doesn't participate in class. She needs to speak up more in class. That was always a constant problem for me. And so every teacher that I had was always almost like harassing me to speak up more. And for me, that was traumatic because it was like, well, I had this idea that you're not enough because you don't talk. You're not enough because you don't participate in class, because you don't like to participate, because you don't have enough friends. And then what happened, which made it even worse, was when I did try to speak up, people would give me these weird looks and they would say things like, "Oh my God, you have a tongue. Like, you know how to talk?" And after that, it's like, okay, I don't want to talk anymore. Like, I'm not going to do that. It's too much. And I don't want to go through all that because I didn't know what to say to them. Even when I was in high school, it was a problem. One of the first places that I worked at was at an arts and crafts store, and I was super quiet then too. And one time, I don't even remember why, I spoke up about something, and one of the managers, who was still a pretty young girl, she looked at me and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know that you could talk. You've been here for 6 months and I don't even think I know what your name is." And that was just like, it really hit me, and I took it like super personally. Like, why would you say something like that? For me, a large part of my confidence problems too comes from the fact that I take everything so personally. I have always viewed that as a negative thing because it was always said to me in a negative way. You know, people have always said to me, "You take things so personally and you need to stop doing that. Like, that's your problem." Um, I don't really feel like it is a problem. Obviously, it's a problem when you're taking things that people who don't know anything about you, like, there have been some people on Instagram in the last 6 months who have been harassing me, and they don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They just look at one or two posts that I have on Instagram and decide that I'm a terrible person and decide to send me these horrible, awful messages. Should I take that personally? No, absolutely not. I shouldn't take that personally because these people don't even know me, right? These are like teenagers who still live in their parents' basement who are harassing me when they probably wouldn't do that if we were face to face, right? They're hiding behind the internet, they're hiding behind their phone, and they're saying whatever they want to say because there's no repercussions for them. But when somebody says something to me, somebody who I know, is it a good thing for me to take it personally? I think a lot of it comes back to how you frame it and how you view it. I feel like it's a good thing that I have such deep emotions, that I can feel things so deeply. And it's important for me to learn how to almost control that, because if I let people on the internet get to me, then I'm going to have a lot more problems than if I just recognize that for what it is a bunch of mean people just being mean to be mean. you know Rather than a personal, like, heartfelt critique of saying, "Hey, I think you could do this a little bit better." So yeah, that's confidence for me. I'm doing this series of videos. I'm calling it Coffee and Confidence because coffee is one of my favorite things that gets me going in the morning. And I feel like we could all start our day with a motivational chat, right? With a little bit of confidence and a little bit of understanding about ourselves. And I think that it's going to go a long way. So I hope that you will subscribe and that you will join me. Hi there. I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm working very hard to produce content that will help you, and I really, really appreciate your support. Also, if you want some more inspiration, check out this video right here.